Hello everyone. Welcome to the weekly meeting of Prow Migration Working Group. This is Suleiman. I'm going to be the moderator today, and Mihal Hudi is taking the notes. So let me share my screen. Okay, can you see the screen now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. As you see, we don't have many agenda items today, so it's going to be just me going over the status and telling you about the current or next priorities we have. And then if you have any questions or any items to discuss, please let us know. So just looking over the last week, we had a pretty productive week actually. We had 20 merge pull requests merged, and there are 11 more they are waiting for to be merged. And most of them are about the migration of the components. Just like we told in the last week's meeting. Let me show you the last week's goals. So there are 4 goals that we determined last week. The first one was helping in migration. Well, for that, we had 2 different meetings, one in Gliwice and one in Munich. And in those meetings, we explained the migration guide, how to migrate one component from our internal CI tool to Prow for the people from Kyma. And after that, they started with the migration. You can also check the migration status from one of the issues that we have. Actually, we have an epic. So directly from this epic, it can be checked. Where are we right now with the migrations? And from this command, actually, we see that there are a lot of components that are in progress of migration right now, which is pretty good. And there are three other goals that we had: enabling access to the logs, which is still in progress, and enabling metrics for the Prow cluster, also G-Cloud project for Prow. They are all still in progress. So let's take a look at our board. We have several items in the to accept column. So these are the ones that are has been merged, but waiting for the leaders review. So they are mostly about migrating the components, but there are a couple of more important things. For example, assuring cleanup of persistent volumes. Well, this was a big problem because every time we created a managed Kubernetes cluster on GKE, when we delete them, the disks were still there. So this led to leaked resources. But now, thanks to Tomac PR, there is a way to delete them. So every time while deprovisioning the cluster, we are now deleting the disks as well. Other than that, there is one more important thing, adding ability to updating secrets. So so far, we had the script to create secrets on Prow cluster, but we couldn't use the same script to update them as well. And now it is also possible. And other than that, it's mostly migrations. And there are a couple of items from last week. Also, there is this thing, it's just to improve the security level we have. We have increased the token size from 20 bytes to 32 bytes. So this was one of the topics resulted from the threat modeling sessions with the security team. And I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, so do you have any questions from the current status that we have? Yeah.
Perhaps not the question, but just a comment about our resources. You mentioned this pull request. It's a first step towards, I would say, stopping resource leaking that we have currently. And of course, the problem is when the pod is terminated, for example, our cleanup is not executed yet. We are working on that. And Jakub Błaszczyk is working on similar cleaning for network resources, which are not that easy to find. So this is not ready yet. So we still have to delete them manually. I would say daily. It's not that much object we can, for the time being, we are able to keep this within some limit. But ultimately, we need an automated mechanism, of course.
Yeah, I think we need to create a periodic job or something to detect and delete those leaked resources at some point. By the way, is it a known issue in Google Cloud? Is this normal?
Yes. Yes, it's known. The clusters clean up after themselves, so to speak. But when there is a dynamic provisioning, when some deployment in the Kubernetes cluster requires something like a load balancer or, for example, PVC, then the underlying G-Cloud infrastructure provisions this on demand dynamically, and these object resources are not automatically removed. And yeah, it's a known fact. And not the problem here is that there is no very easy and straightforward way to find those resources. That's the biggest problem, because we are all working on that. And we've already found some discussions, and even there is a script on GitHub that addresses very similar issue, mainly to find orphaned load balancers. So others have also encountered this problem. And yeah, so I would say it's a known issue with Google. And for example, some mechanism in Google Cloud like labeling is also not completely implemented. So we could probably label those objects somehow if we could, while the cluster is still running, for example, but not all resources allow labeling. I would say most of them do not. So yeah, that makes the problem even bigger. We have to use different techniques, different API calls. It's not standardized and straightforward way to have the complete solution. So right now we are improvising a bit and finding something that works. Yes.
All right. All right, and for the upcoming weeks, I think there will be a lot of components again being migrated. So our first goal would be to help people to migrate the components, and also we will continue with solving the issues about our current Prow setup, or maybe better to say improving the status that we have.
Yes, I think mainly this is our primary goal, to enable teams to migrate their components. That's the most important thing. The other one is, of course, to stabilize the master, builds on master or pull requests and all those jobs that are that are needed to have production Pro, so that our master branch is protected and tested.
Mhm.
But we are close, I think, and I believe Michał have perhaps something more to say because he's working on another cluster, I guess, for Production Pro. But there is one more thing that's not apparent in our board, which is we have to keep that in mind, which is of course releasing. We don't have right now on Prow anything about releasing, and maybe not in the next 2-3 weeks, but at the end of the year we should have at least a concept or
Actually, we have a timeline for it. We have a timeline. Right after being done with the migration of the components, then the next big topic will be releasing them.
Okay, then.
Mm-hmm.
And good.
So until the end of this year, hopefully we can be done with it, so that in mid-January we can make the next release of Kyma using Prow. So that's the happy path.
Yes, that would be great if we can do it within this timeline. Then it would be great because we have already we've already heard some messages about our existing infrastructure is going to be turned off at some unknown time next year. So we have to do it as fast as we can.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. All right. Is there any other topic that you want to discuss? Otherwise, I think we can just end today's meeting.
I would have one question to Michał about the status of this Production Pro. Can it be? Or can you share something already with us, or it's not? It's not the time now because you've just begun to work on that. We can't hear you.
Oh, right now, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. So the current status is that we have the new project in Google Cloud project, I just said. And also I discussed it with Piotr Bocheński about the new domain for Prow, and we decided we will, during the migration, we will have 2 Prow clusters. And while I will be working on stabilize the new cluster on the new project, then the both will be work, and when it will be stabilized, then we'll migrate. Migrated to the new, and right now I finishing the task of monitoring, still working on it, and then I have a plan to create the new cluster in the next week, let's say at Tuesday, Wednesday. But I hope we'll have till the time the cleanup of orphan resources will be ready. I hope. Because it will be really important on the new project to monitor that.
Yes, of course. If we have duplicated setups, then we will duplicate the orphans and that
duplicate the costs.
Yeah, duplicate the costs, exactly. Is there anything important or special that we should be aware of when we are doing our pull requests right now that considers this new production cluster? I mean, do you have anything that we should be aware of to avoid some things that could break your
No, I don't think so. I just need to know which projects are already migrated to the Pro. But in fact, I'm enabling the webhooks on that project, so I have the list of everything. And you don't need to take in mind that the new cluster is still create. There will be 2 clusters because it shouldn't impact any work. Maybe there will be some, I don't know, maintenance when I will be disabling the old cluster, and I will be work on removing the webhooks, but it will be another at the end of the next weeks or something like that. So there shouldn't be any problem right now.
Okay, one thing that comes to my mind, but this should be addressed by the latest pull request that I merged, is the potential name clashes, because if we have 2 same jobs running in the old cluster and this new that's intended to be production, if some resources or names are calculated identically in the jobs, then there could be a clash in the G-Cloud. Fortunately, yeah, so take this into consideration. I will also think about it to avoid such a situation, so that all our resources are named kind of randomly, or at least part of them is random.
There shouldn't be that problem, because the new cluster will work in a different project, like I said, and also it will have a different domain. The root of the domain will be different temporarily. So I was thinking about it, and also on the new cluster, every jobs will have the skip report set to true, to not duplicate the notifications to GitHub.
And logging, I mean, this bucket where the
bucket will be a new project, and will be also a new bucket.
New bucket.
And,
okay.
And the new bucket will be Kyma Prow logs and Kyma Prow secrets, because we cannot use Prow logs because it is already used by someone else in Google. The bucket names need to be globally in Google uniquely, like in Amazon.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Prow logs. Who could that be? Yeah, probably the guys from Prow. Okay. Thanks, Michał.
No problem.
Okay. Is there any other questions? If not, thank you, everyone, and see you on next Tuesday.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.